So I just saw Beetlejuice 2, or Beetlejuice, not Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, the original sequel title. This one is, it's a movie by Tim Burton, and it stars Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. You may know Beetlejuice as the guy who honks his disgusting, rotten penis.
Nice fucking model!
Now, I'd like to show you a couple of things I created. Well, here. So that was the first test. I didn't really like that one that much. Then I tried this one. Also not a great loop. And then I settled on this one. So we're just gonna have this, going the whole time. And, yeah, so it's Beetlejuice, and as you may know, we have a holiday, called Beetlejuice Rusty Cock Day. And, if you're just clicking on this and you have no idea who I am, that will mean absolutely nothing to you. But for everyone else, it's a very important holiday. It's coming up. It's in September. I never remember the day, but it's coming up. So, I mean, what better way to celebrate than to review Beetlejuice? I might have said it a couple times. I don't know if I've said it 3 times. Yeah, probably like 5 or 6 by now. This movie is interesting. And, well, let's start with this. I love the original Beetlejuice movie. It's one of my first favorite movies because it was so weird and it was so, in some places, scary that I really, I just couldn't not watch it. I was, drawn to it. And it was something that kind of imprinted on my brain. I did watch the cartoon, but the movie was something that, left an impression and still to this day holds up. I think it's one of those nearly perfect movies. So I was excited about Beetlejuice, but I was also worried because so many legacy sequels end up being kind of not great. So I didn't really go in with any expectations. I just knew that Michael Keaton was apparently good in it, and that was about it. And yeah, without any spoilers whatsoever, here is my unprofessional, don't know what I'm talking about review. I thought the movie was a mess, but I'm glad I watched it. I don't know if I'm interested in watching it again anytime soon, other than maybe seeing some of Michael Keaton's scenes. The practical effects were nice. There was a lot of CG mixed with practical effects, but the practical effects were very obvious when they were there, and they were fun. Tim Burton has been pretty disappointing for me over the years, and I feel like this is better than most recent Tim Burton, but it's not great. It has some problems. Luckily, it's not a very long movie, but sometimes it feels it. The pacing isn't bad, but there's so many unnecessary plot lines and stuff that I just feel like they just crammed too many characters and too many stories into this movie, and only a couple of them resolved in a satisfying way, and only a couple of them actually were good. But as a movie, there's a lot of good stuff. The music is great. Danny Elfman, once again, did a great job. The visuals are nice. There are times where the visuals, especially the underworld, are incredible, like the sets and the lighting and just the weird, spooky vibe, where it gets to the level of Beetlejuice 1 and even surpasses it in some ways. And then there are times where back in the real world, it just kind of falls a little flat. But it's still better than a lot of the, just the generic Tim Burtonisms of the past, 10, 15 years of his movies, of way too much. So it's got a lot of visual flair. The practical effects include disgusting, rotten things, costumes, makeup, and a lot of weird effects. And then there's obviously CG. You'll know when you see it, but if you're just looking for a fun visual movie, this has a lot of it. The acting is good. I thought Winona Ryder was very good. I always liked Winona Ryder, from the first Beetlejuice to, Stranger Things and a lot of stuff in between. Sorry, not you, Dracula. She's fine in it at best, but that movie is one of my favorites, and yet it has so many bizarre choices. But no, she's good in it, even if she feels like a different character from the first one. But she's also like 35 years older, so you would imagine people do change. It's Michael Keaton who steals the show as usual. He's incredible. He's in his early 70s, and you can tell like there's his voice is lower. He's not doing some of the crazier stuff. But then he kind of also does some stuff that I was surprised he did. And he was great. He was really funny. He didn't lose a step. He can still honk his cock like the best of them. And he's still perfect. Like, there are moments in this movie that match the original Beetlejuice moments, in my opinion. And that's kind of the problem with the movie. In the first movie, Beetlejuice wasn't in the movie a ton, but when he was, he steals the show. And it's similar here. There's more of him, and they build, you already know he exists, so they show you him a little earlier. But then when you get to him, he kind of makes the rest of the movie feel boring, and it kind of is, especially some of the Jenna Ortega stuff. I like her. She's good. She's always good, really, but in this movie, she has a couple of things to do, and the plot line, there's, an emotional thing that she has going, like, that they build, which is good, but then there's another plot line with her that just, it ends in a semi-cheap joke, but I'll say that it didn't feel necessary. She's fine. She's fine in it. She's good in it, but, nothing crazy. Like, Catherine O'Hara is amazing in this movie. They flesh out her character more. She is hilarious in the movie. They give her a lot of funny things to do. It's really good. It's really good. So she was like the star of the show. Her and Michael Keaton killed it. I actually hated Justin Theroux's character. I was supposed to, but I will tell you that I just found him, again, another plot line that didn't really work for me. Wasn't terrible, but it was like just over the top in a way that I didn't really love. That's a personal thing. And then Willem Dafoe was good, but he only kind of has one or two gags that they just keep doing. But it's good. He fits the Beetlejuice world really well. And I feel like they wanted him in this movie because he does have that. He's perfect for this movie. He really is. They just kind of don't give him enough to do. So that's another plot line that could have been cut. And Monica Bellucci is in the movie, and she plays like an antagonist. And she looks great. She fits the vibe. She has a great scene. And then pretty much nothing else. And then, without getting into spoilers, there's a lot of retreaded territory. So the plot of the movie just felt messy. It felt like, God, I don't even know how to explain the events. Like sometimes, it's hard to even, like I was thinking about it today. I'm like, well, how do I even describe this movie's plot? But the original movie is, okay, couple moves into a house, they die. They become ghosts. They discover the underworld. New family moves in. There's a crusty cock monster ghost. And then crazy hijinks ensue. Very simple story. You learn about the world. You learn about these, these weird things that happen. And it's cool. This movie, it does expand the lore, but it loses something in the process. And I feel like the simplicity of the first movie was always going to be really hard to recapture. So, a lot of the time I'm watching the movie and I just didn't really connect with it. But like I said, fun scenes, some good jokes. There was like a meta joke about why Geena Davis and Baldwin aren't in the movie slightly. And it's like, they passed on to the next realm, And it's like, that's convenient. Sorry if that's a spoiler. I guess it's just a joke. But it is convenient for the movie, for the plot. And it just kind of made me laugh a little bit because it's like, shit. Well, they were such an integral part to that first movie. They added a lot of heart to it. But yeah, I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say here is if you're a fan of Beetlejuice, it's probably worth watching. And if you're not, this isn't going to win you over necessarily. But even as someone who has watched the original countless times, loves the character, if you get rid of all the additional Beetlejuice stuff, like the cartoon and everything, just viewing this as a movie sequel, it kind of succeeds. I feel like there's definitely more good in it than bad. And you get to see Michael Keaton clown it up again, and you get to see Tim Burton make a movie that isn't just like Willy Wanker's clown vomit. As you can tell, I'm a very professional reviewer. So I don't even really think I need to go into spoilers because I kind of did what I had to do here. So yeah, I mean, maybe check it out. But like I said, for me, it's kind of squarely in like if I don't want to put a number score to it, and usually it's hard for me to review, quote unquote, a movie like a day after seeing it. But if I had to, like if, let's say I had to do a Letterboxd review, I'd give it 2.5, maybe 3 stars. It's somewhere in that range. And there were so many things that could have been better. But what you get is also not a complete train wreck. We've seen so many legacy sequels end up as complete train wrecks. So this isn't that. And listen, at some point, all of the Beetlejuice scenes are going to be on the internet. So, maybe check those out. But let me know what you think, actually. I like doing these movie reviews once in a while, but Beetlejuice in particular is a movie that is near and dear to my heart. So, let me know what you think. One last thing I'll mention is there were a number of musical scenes in this movie. Like they leaned heavily on like popular songs, not like current popular, but like just good songs. And there's a lot of it. And that felt, in the times it happens, it's either funny for a little bit or it drags on too long. And I think some people, mileage may vary, but some people will enjoy it more than I did. I wasn't overly into it. When the musical stuff happened, it just kind of killed the momentum of the movie. There were definitely clever visual things that were happening for those moments. And I know that there's a lineage of the Banana Boat song from the first movie, so they're just doing more of that. Also, funny thing that you've probably seen in the trailers, slow, emotional Deo with piano choirs and piano and choirs. And it just kind of made me laugh at how ridiculous it was, which actually then it worked because it made me laugh. So yeah, I don't know. There's some stuff that worked for me better than it probably worked for others, and vice versa. So that's why my Beetlejuice review is good. Pretty good. Anyway, yeah, let me know what you think. And be sure to celebrate Beetlejuice Rusty Cock Day coming up soon. Beetlejuice Rusty Cock Day is September 26th. Mark it in your calendar.